Hi, my name is Erick Merino, and I'm giving a presentation on how to deal with stress. So, in my presentation, I'm going to begin by giving you some key terms to look out for and what you should know before dealing with stress. So, I'm going to start by giving you the definition of stress. So, stress is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from an adverse or very demanding circumstances. So, like panics, threats to your life, and like threats to your survival. So that sort of thing. So there are three stages of stress, and those three stages are alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. So, alarm during the alarm stage, it refers to our immune system, immediate stress response when we perceive a situation that is a potential threat to us. You've probably already heard of it as this as the fight or flight response. So, for example, you either run away or fight during a situation that threatens your life, or you either freeze, which is another. So, the resistance stage. This is a period of time when we recognize and begin to interpret the stressful situation, and we try to adapt and cope with it. For example, we become more focused and avoid interacting with people, just like do our own thing and try to stay alive or try to make out the best of the situation. And and during the exhaustion stage, during this time, we feel depleted, exhausted. The chronic production of stress hormones has worn out the physical functioning, causing deep physiological exhaustion or fatigue, even when not doing very much. This can also be mental and emotional effects, such as depression. The body has depleted its energy as well as its ability to combat disease. The body is both mentally and physically on the verge of collapse. So during this time, we see reduced work performance. So we lack motivation and we withdraw from people. We consider ourselves as not productive. Our work is not as it should be. So during this time, we feel that our work is not as up to standards. So during the next term is the fight or flight response, as I already mentioned in the first phase, the alarm response. So the fight or flight response, also known as acute stress response, refers to the physiological reaction that occurs in the presence of something that is terrifying, or either mentally or physically. During this event, we can choose to either fight or run away from danger, which is also known as the fight or flight response. So the 10 indifferent response. During this situation, is usually mostly referred to females. During this time, they can either attend to their offspring and befriend other females. So during the times of dangers, they tend to their offsprings and make sure that they're okay, and also befriend other females to make it a small group and deal with the situation. So that's the 10 befriend response. Optimism. Optimism. The definition of optimism is a disposition or tendency to look at more favorable side of events and conditions, and to expect the most favorable outcomes. So you can be like in the worst situation ever, but you still look at the bright side. That's basically what it means. Self-efficacy. Perceived as self-efficacy is defined as people's belief about their capabilities to produce designated levels of performance that exist influence over events that affect their lives. So self-efficacy beliefs determine how people feel, think, motivate themselves, and behave. Such beliefs produce these diverse effects through four major processes. They involve cognitive, motivational, and affective and selection processes. So you believe that like you're doing the best you can, and that's basically what this means. So hardiness, the capacity for enduring or sustaining hardship, privation, and capability of surviving under unfavorable conditions. So this is means that you do everything you can, you endure, you pull through even in the most unfavorable circumstances. So now I'm going to begin by summarizing the body's long-term and short-term reactions to stress, including effects to the heart, nervous system, and hormones. So stress can affect our body without us even realizing it. The stress could affect our thoughts, body, and behavior. The body's reaction to short-term stress are headaches, fatigue, change in sex drive, stomach upset, sleep problems, etc. Stress also affects our mood. For example, we can feel sadness for no reason or depression just because of you're stressed out. So you can also feel an anxiety, relentlessness, lack of motivation, and focus. And you also might feel overwhelmed during the short-term stress. The effects of stress in our behavior are social withdrawal, exercising less often, overeating or undereating, angry outbursts. Stress in the long term could lead us to have many health problems in the long term. For example, high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. So it is very important to manage stress because if stress is left unchecked, it could lead to many health problems. Managing stress prevents us from having long-lasting and short-lasting problems like high blood pressure and anxiety. So I'm going to provide you with two strategies to dealing with stress. So one of the strategies that to manage stress is picking up a hobby, doing something productive, something that will keep your mind out of the stressful situation. So such as pick a book to read or listen to music. Another one can be socializing with your family and friends. Okay, so I'm gonna describe to you one of my personal successful experience while dealing with stress. So stress could lead to devastating results if left unchecked. Stress comes from many things such as pressure. I remember during my senior year in high school, it was a very stressful situation. I was very stressed out about what I was going to do with my future. So what I did to manage that stress was I picked up a hobby that kept me distracted and helped me manage my stress. I picked up reading. It was effective to me because I was able to take a step back for my problems and analyze my problem and find a common solution to that sad problem. So I'm going to describe another example of me not dealing well with stress. So when I was in senior year in high school, it was during the week I had to take my final exams. It was during this time that I was very stressed out about all the tests that I had to take. It made me very anxious, and anxiety led me to a very lack of sleep. So I thought that this was a normal reaction. For that I was having due to the upcoming test. So I left it unchecked. So all the stress built up, and it got to the point where like the night before the test, I couldn't fall asleep, and I was sleep deprived from that night, and I ended up taking the test that way. So the results that I got were not as desirable as I would have expected them to be. So stress can lead to a lot of undesirable situations. So managing stress is very important to keep yourself well and healthy in the long term. Thank you. This is Erick Merino in Managing Stress.